Hello everyone. First off, I just want to say happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me today. And as you can tell, we will be making another mead today. A little while ago, I made a mead called Pixie Dust. It was a strawberry rhubarb, but today we're going to go with their counterpart. We're going to go with Fairies. And today's mead is called Fairies Cider. Okay, so before we start, I just want to let you know that if you hear some bubbling in the background, I had to get another batch of Dragon's Blood mead going because, as I've said numerous times, it is my favorite, and I drank most of the stuff that I have from before. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to making our mead. And first off, I should note that there is a difference between pixies and fairies. I'm not going to get into everything because this video will just be way too long, but there's a difference in the style of wings they have, in the way they dress, in the way they look.
You monster! It bit me!
What did you expect fairies to do?
So I'm not going to get into that. I'll get into the symbolisms of our ingredients for today because it's actually quite interesting. I kind of stumbled upon this recipe. I can't even call it a recipe. I guess it was only really a sentence or two that said hollyhocks were used for a number of different things for fairies. Fairies made dresses out of the petals, and something about the bud of a hollyhock plant looks like a fairy cheese wheel, something along those lines. But it also mentioned that there was even a recipe that dates back to 1660 that says if you combine a couple of ingredients, it's supposed to help you be able to see fairies and to communicate with them. I thought this was really interesting, and I looked up the ingredients for this recipe, and although as hard as I searched, I could not find the actual recipe. But I thought, you know what, this would be a really interesting mead. Like I said, I couldn't find the exact recipe, but I'm just going to do what I do best, and I'm going to wing it. And we'll go from there. So, in my bucket, I already have scaled out 3 pounds of wildflower honey, because, again, fairies love the outdoors, they love nature, flowers, beauty, all that kind of stuff. Then I also weighed out the other ingredients that the recipe calls for. And all it talked about combining hollyhocks, hazel buds, marigolds, and thyme. I wasn't sure how much of each ingredient to make, so I just figured, you know what, I'll weigh them all the same. That way everything's all equal. But I kind of was wondering, why these ingredients that would help make you see fairies? So I did some more research and I looked into the symbolisms of the 4 ingredients to this recipe, and it's actually quite interesting. First off, we have hollyhocks, and hollyhocks kind of symbolize, the circle of life, ambition, fertility, and abundance. Okay, so I moved on to the next one. Thyme. Thyme is a major symbolism in Greek mythology, and throughout history, really, it symbolizes bravery, courage, and apparently, from all the sources that I looked at, fairies love thyme. If you want to draw fairies into your garden, plant thyme in your garden, and it will attract them. Now for the marigolds, they symbolize good fortune, protection from evil spirits, and also positive emotions and energy. So again, this is all really making sense. And then the last one really got me, the hazel buds. Now, I couldn't find hazel buds anywhere. I've been searching. So I looked into some other stuff and I found hazelnut bark, which I think is going to work. Because what hazelnut bark symbolizes is communication, divination, and prophetic dreams. So I don't know if this stuff just makes you trip balls or what, but the combination of these four all seem to make sense. You know, protection, drawing lots of fairies around you, seeing fairies, divination, positive vibes, all that kind of stuff. So it just, honestly, it makes a lot of sense. So what I did, as I said, I've got 3 pounds of wildflower honey, and I did a 1/4 ounce of each of the 4 ingredients. If this is enough or not, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out and we'll see. I can always add more into secondary if it needs more flavor. But of course, we'll do an update about that later and we'll figure it out. And that's basically going to be it for ingredients. Of course, my nutrient schedule, which will be 1 teaspoon of Fermate O, 1/2 teaspoon of Fermate K, and 1/4 teaspoon of potassium carbonate. And then our nutrient schedule of 1 more teaspoon of Fermate O on day 2 and another teaspoon of Fermate O on day 4. So let's get this all combined. I'm gonna add a gallon of water to my honey and I'm gonna give it a good mix and we'll be right back. Okay, so nutrients were in, I mixed it, I took a gravity reading, and it was actually a lot lower than what I thought it would end up being. So you can see I have my scale out. So what I did was I ended up adding another 9 ounces of honey, wildflower honey, to bring that ABV up to about 13%. So our reading is now sitting at 1.100.
You are prisoners of the Daleks now. You will move ahead of me and walk to the delegation room. Stay where you are, do not move. You will be exterminated. Exterminate! 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 Exterminate!
The reason I did this was, well, basically, I brought the alcohol content higher, so if the herbs don't work to allow us to see fairies, I'm sure if you drink enough of this, you'll be seeing some type of fairy. Just saying, I wanted to cover my ass on this one. So, everything's been mixed in. All that's really left is to add our ingredients in, which is nicely tied up in a bag. So we're gonna pop that in and push it down so it soaks in. Some of it escaped through the bag. So we'll do that. And I honestly just realized I didn't add my yeast yet, so this isn't gonna go anywhere right now. What I'm gonna do is add 1/2 packet of EC1118 yeast, because I got 1/2 packet here. So I'm gonna pop that in. So I'll stir this in. And once I'm done mixing this and incorporating a lot of air, I will put on my lid and airlock. All right, so that is everything. There is our fairy site mead. As I said, we will follow our stagger nutrient protocol and we'll check it in a couple of weeks, see how it's going. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and yeah, other than that, have a great day, happy brewing, and cheers. I love the journey. I am now gonna go crack another mead. I got to add some cracked peppercorns to something.